What's up, guys? Fuffin here, and I am on a brand new account, new Smurf I just made, and I'm also on a normal game. Lord have mercy. All right, that's enough. Thank you very much. So, the reason why I'm on a new account, with the new everything, is that I want to give you guys the absolute most cohesive way to at least analyze how I play the game now. So in essence, I'm going to try and do this over the course of a couple games. And just kind of show you. So for the first game here, we're going to just play it out like we normally do. Okay. Just trying to adjust the volume. So I'll go over my thought process for everything really soon. So pretty much right here, we have Cultist as a possible start. We also have Brawlers. With our item, I guess we'll start there. So basically, in TFT you have, this is still too loud. What the fuck? All right. So in TFT you have, your items that you're going to select at the beginning of the game, and in essence, whatever item you get is going to determine what I call a route. And a route is, simply put, just the possibilities in which you can achieve a desirable endgame. So what I mean by that is, if you go for a bow, you have to be ready to get items associated with bows due to the fact that you're going to be getting the components. So because I get bow, I can get Rage Blade, Rapid Fire Cannon, Giant Slayer, Runons, and Titans. Those are like the things that if I get, I'm going to be really happy with. And as such, you are going to also want to, you're going to have to be fine with those. I'm actually going to sell these in pre-level. I'm pre-leveling here just because I would like a Chosen, and these items are kind of, iffy for Chosens. Okay, so we're going to drop Cultist right now because we've hit a Duelist Chosen. And hitting Duelist Chosen means that we can put in all of this. And now, instead of having 3 Cultists plus whatever else, we have three Duelists, 2 Divine, Enlightened, and Exile. So, we can choose to slam Runons here, but I'm actually going to wait. If I had maybe 1 or 2 more Yasuos, I would be looking to slam everything, but we're not going to. So, in essence, because I've hit those items, I have to be fine with hitting the items that will be given to me, right? Because if I wanted an Infinity Edge or something as like one of the main items I go for, I wouldn't be going for a bow in the beginning, I'd go for an Infinity Edge component. Figuring out what kind of playstyle in terms of items you really want can be probably one of the most daunting things, I would say. One of the harder things with actually trying to figure out your playstyle. But, that'll just take time. In the second part of this video, I'm going to go over more of, like, those routes from the item standpoint. But for now, I'll just focus on this one so you guys can understand it on this end. So, basically, I have a Runons here. And if I don't have a Runons, I can look for items to be built out of both of these. In this game, I've only started with 2 items instead of 3. So, I've still wanted to put the items on champions, but I'm putting them on champions that can either be sold or that will always be able to use the items built out of the components. So, we're going to pick up extra champions here. I'm not very comfortable with actually trying to sell for gold here because I want to keep this Janna. Usually you could sell for gold here, but for this game, I'm just going to play as conservatively as possible, not trying to take too many risks. It is possible to play this Garen, but I'm not sure it would pair well with the Wukong, so I'm actually going to sell off that in addition to these, trying to make enough gold to pre-level and also keep 10. You always want to either pre-level or have 10 here, but because I can do both, it kind of lets me get in a really, really good spot. So, like I was saying, the champions that will use bow starts, you're going to have a 4 cost, basically, to carry you at the end of your route, usually. In this current set, running like 5 cost carries are a whole lot less good. If you can't get to them safely, and it's really, really hard to get to them safely. So we're going to end up losing this one, but it's fine. So basically, because I have a bow, the 2 main slammable things in the beginning of the game are Runons and Rapid Fire Cannon. So the champions who use those are things like Kale, things like Olaf. So if it's not Kale or Olaf, there's only a couple possible 3 cost carries that could use it, such as this Callista right here. So it is possible for me to grab the Callista here. Because right now there's nothing else using the Negatron Cloak, which I would actually enjoy taking. But because it's gone, we'll take this. Because it's a Divine Duelist, which means that we can replace this Wukong immediately, and we're able to slay a Zephyr. So we get to replace this, and then we'll probably just drop this in. Janna's just a good champion, so I don't really mind putting her in. We also have a second one, just in case. And so now we are going to slam Zephyr. Zephyr's just a good item made out of 2 bad components. You can refer to my set 4 item guide if you would like to for that. But besides that, we have, you know, kind of what we have as our route right now is the duelist route. So we're going to play duelists, and then we're going to see where our items end up taking us. So it is possible that due to Lucky Lanterns or whatever other things, I happen to get like 3 swords. Now, if you have 3 swords, you can get things like Deathblade, you can get Guardian Angel, you can get Giant Slayer in this. If you happen to get things like Hand of Justice, that will let you play various different routes in addition. I'm going to pick up these units just because they're expensive and because I've ran things like Elderwood. Like I said, if you have Hand of Justice, you can play Zaya. Now, Zaya is an Executioner and also an Elderwood. So it would be possible to play those. However, in this case right here, I'm actually going to be selling them. And I'm selling them because there's a Callista in my shop. So if I win this, I will be picking up this Callista. Because going 6 duelists, if you are going duelist early, is how you get through stage 3. If you don't get through if you don't get 6 duelists, you don't get through stage 3. So basically, what I'm thinking about here is just where my route is going to be taking me next. So because I do have the Callista and because I sold the other things, it's likely that I'm going to be going for duelist instead of Zaya. And now the reason why I immediately sold those pretty much to go for this is because I have this right now, right? I'm not thinking about, oh, it's possible that I get a Zaya in the next, 5 or 10 turns. Because realistically, my chances of hitting that are extremely low. Right now, to hit a Zaya is 2%. I already have a Callista right here, and it's not breaking my economy of 20. Right? So, we're still in a good spot. I'm very willing to put this in right now, because if I can sell this, I will, for gold. Now, if we get some crazy items here, like maybe a Morello or, GA, something else, it is possible for me to take the double Vladimir, because that would open up the Siphoner route using this Nasus. But right now, again, we're just focused on getting gold. Okay, so yeah, we're going to end up just grabbing this. We can hold on to this. We'll grab this, and we'll instantly slam Hand of Justice. So, Hand of Justice is going to work decent on Yasuo. In addition to allowing us, just it just lets us get a little bit extra damage. So we can grab this Jax because getting another Jax would be good. And now there is a case to be made about selling this Jax right now to pull the Zephyr off. I'm not going to because I like Zephyr on the front line, and I also like Jax with defensive items. So, in essence, we are just looking for our next big thing here. Realistically, if we win this, we're going to try and build up to 40. So, as you can tell, what I'm doing on my bench is I'm constantly trying to build up while using, like, buying and selling things off of here. So, I could, in theory, buy up all of this in my shop, and then I could have a bunch more routes, right? If I bought both of these, I could have possibly Assassin route, and I could possibly have Vanguard route, right? You could also buy this for Keeper route. So all of these routes would be opened, and that'll be something that I do if I'm not winning or losing in streaks. Because when you win in streaks, you get a lot more gold. But here we're not going to go for reroll Yasuo. I don't personally reroll, like, ever. So I'm always going to level here. And then it's just going to be putting this in. This is what we have at the moment. And that's it. But in this case, now that we have a pair of two things that are valuable to us, I will not be, selling to make gold here. Because if I would be rolling for either of these to hit level 2 later, it is not worth that gold. So in this case, I'm going to be buying up the entire shop. Okay? All the way up until, I would, if there was more expensive units, I'd be going until 30. But I'm at 32, which just means that I'll be looking to make that back up. So this means that we could possibly be going for Fiora 3. Realistically, it's not, because our chances of getting it are astronomically low. But now that we have this Fiora, if we get a second Fiora 2, maybe we can move items to her because she'll be sold later. Or, it's possible that we do hit Fiora 3. It's happened before. And that's a possibility, but I'm not going to roll for it because that Fiora 3 is not worth the gold for it. Okay, so in this case, right here, we've hit a Shen. So anytime you see a 4-cost appear in your shop this early in the game, actually, like, at most points, but up until, like, before level 7, you need to consider if you can play it or not. And at this point, I can actually play this. So the reason why I'm considering playing this is that you can get Adept, right? So Adept is a possible trait here, and Shen is a pretty decent unit, all things considered. As for positioning, I'm not going to talk about it in this one. Unfortunately, it's just way too much to go over right now. So now I'm going to look at my shop and my champions. So I don't have anything here that really looks like it could possibly go into any routes. So if I was going Elderwood route, you could go for that. If I was doing anything with this, you could go for that. But what I'll do here instead is I'll sell one of my 1-costs and just pick this up. So now I have a pair. If you pick up a bunch of different units, it's not going to help you out. But if you happen to hit one more of these, maybe you could consider playing this over a different champion. So, yeah. Well, now at this point, if you don't have items that are completely decisive for a team comp, you can consider switching out of your current route. This would usually be around this period of time that you do it if you weren't winning. If you're not winning with your current chosen, you're going to probably look to switch out. In terms of items here, I mean, most of the good items are going. So we're either going to look for something that can be splashed, or we're going to look for something expensive. So realistically, it's going to be one of the non-1-cost units. Alright, so we'll just take this because it's expensive. Unfortunately, like, it doesn't fit into our comp. It is a Xayah, however, so we can look to consider if we can actually play it. At the moment, it's not really looking like it. Now, we have a couple things that we can do. For instance, we can just pick up the Twisted Fate too. It's not going to hurt us. It's not going to help us. What's important is that you have enough room to manage. So for me, personally, seeing all of this does not faze me at this point in the game. I can keep all this. If this scares you to look at all this, you need to start selling stuff. And then you can put your money into leveling. Because right now, we're going to prioritize leveling over everything else. Because the 4th duelist we can play, or the 6th duelist we can play, is a 4-cost, which is not able to be achieved at level 6. Do not roll for 4 costs at level 6. Rolling for 4 costs at level 7 is even not favorable. So, yeah. Because we have a relatively strong team now, we're just letting ourselves collect our wins. Okay? We're holding on to as many things that we have to give us the most amount of options. So now, this is something that's very important, okay? Because we need to buy the Shen pair, and we need to also buy the Callista pair, and a Yasuo. So we're buying the Yasuo because we could sell this Yasuo right now. It would make us slightly weaker, but it would open our Chosen back up. So basically, by our level 7 point, if we have not hit our Tryndamere or something of equal strength, we are going to switch out of this Chosen. And then we're going to use our setup, but instead of 5 duelists, it's going to be 4 as our transition into a better comp. This is why we're holding on to the Xayah right now, because we could end up playing Xayah. You know, if we hit like an Elderwood Chosen or a Keeper Chosen, something. That will be defined by our next Chosen. You try to have the least amount of time in your game without a Chosen. Okay, so we're going to just look to level. Right, so we have enough gold here to level. And then for this time, we can put in the Janna, right? So you should be considering what you can get out of your items here. So realistically, we can probably get like Titans. Maybe we get a sword, but we don't have anything that could be slammed out of sword. So it ended up being a floating item that isn't really used. You know, there's a lot of stuff that could be possible. But, all right. So, this is really great because our items are fucking abysmal. But, now we've hit Tryndamere, okay? We've not only hit Tryndamere, however, we've also hit Kayle. So, this allows us to go into a duelist build with duelist spat. I'm just trying to consider exactly where our power could lie. But we will get rid of Xayah now. So now we have locked ourselves into playing a duelist comp. At least for the time being. I am willing to possibly sell my Yasuo Chosen still because I don't want to keep him the entire game. Because, like, I mean, I would rather have the items on someone else. But I'm also not going to slam anything with this. Because it could be Zeke's, it could be something else, and it could also be re-rolled off of the Lucky Lanterns. I know this is a lot of information, but this is sort of the route that we're looking at right now. So now we're going to replace our Yasuo, and we're going to look to level all the way to 8, because now we need to put our Jax back in to give us back our 6th duelist. But we also have our Chosen open now, and we're going to always just readjust your positioning, you know, and so this is our setup currently. We're going to give Kayle the better items, and we're going to look to thin our bench a little bit. So we're going to get rid of this. We can probably consider getting rid of the Jannas, and then we can consider picking this up. We're going to give Jax another item, and we're going to probably give Tryndamere another item. Just the components, because the extra stats are really good. Now, again, we're just letting our team win. Because we have the duelist spat, it lets us compensate for not having a Chosen. Like I said, we're still holding up the 6th duelist. So, that's pretty much what we're looking at right now. We're going to, basically, I do one of two things. We can either roll now, because we're level 8, we have access to the 4-cost Chosens a whole lot easier. So we could roll right now. We have to consider, are we strong enough to maintain our win streak? Right now, we're looking pretty good, all things considered. I'm going to switch sides because there's a guy trying to shroud me. This is just some extra, you know, kind of complex stuff. But basically, we're looking to avoid that guy. So this is pretty much, I mean, we're doing pretty good, all things considered. We do have some bad items, and that's just going to happen. But we're just doing our best to consider all of our, you know, possibilities here and just do what we can. We're going to just look for more items for Kayle. Unfortunately, our components are not good for Kayle. at all. So we have to either consider going something like Zeke's to buff Kale indirectly, or we need to actually give Kale more items. So our items on Kale right now are really good, but typically you'd want like Rapid Fire Cannon. Now, unfortunately, since we didn't get Rapid Fire Cannon, it makes the route a little bit more foggy, but it doesn't completely ruin it. Here, we have to go for one of the 3 costs. So, we're going to go for this because you don't want to take many Negatron Cloaks. And we already have too many belts. So, we already have too many belts, and we don't want to take many Negatron Cloaks. So, alright, we've hit Lucky Lantern now. So, we're going to consider our options here with the Lucky Lantern. Alright, so, with the Lucky Lantern, our items have been absolutely atrocious. But we're going to attempt to reroll as many items as we can. So we're going to make a useless item on Tryndamere, and we're going to give him a useless component. And now Reforger is going to let us pop the items off. Okay, so now we have Runons. I'm going to put this on Callista for now. And then we are going to just put Zephyr on that. We have a blue buff, and we have this. So in terms of items, you know, we're going to probably just be making this blue buff every time. But I want something that can actually use it. So we can just look at, you know, our things in our shop and all that, and just try to consider what's possible to be used with it. We don't have many duplicates of our champions currently in play. And if you can tell right now, I'm just picking up 4 and 5 costs, I see. I don't want that to be particularly confusing. But we have a Runons right now, so it is possible to go Runons on Kale. Now, Kale does enjoy having defensive items. So, yeah. But we're going to put blue buff on Fiora, and we're going to give her this. Because we have a remover, we can, you know, take the items off Fiora if we need to. We are a little bit weak in terms of where we could be, because we could be rolling here to try and get our Jax 2, our Callista 2, and our Aurelia 2. I'm fine with having 3 pairs, but once you have 4, it really starts to bug you. We're going to pick up Olaf. Again, we're picking up 4 and 5 costs, because right now we don't want to be locked into this build. If we never find any more champions that go with this build, we want to have a way out as soon as possible. So, in essence, with things like Runons, with Hand of Justice, it does let us go into things like Olaf or possibly Samira. Samira, like sharpshooters, it would be possible to pick this up. I'm not going to right now. And the reason I'm not going to right now is because I don't want to fill up my bench anymore. Alright, and in terms of our items here, we have a GA and a static Shiv. So we're going to plop both of these on Fiora, and then we're going to remove her, and we're going to basically give Shiv to Callista. We're going to give our defensive item to Kale, and now our blue buff can probably just go back on Fiora, most likely. It is possible to make a case to put it on Yasuo, because Yasuo is realistically going to be the next thing that we sell. And the reason that is because there is a Lee Sin in the game that is a Divine Duelist. Now, I do need to make this note right now. Usually, you're not going to last this long without buying a Chosen, okay? There's probably a big case to be made that I should have been rolling for a very long period of time during this game. And I haven't been, because I've been able to get away with it. Due to being on a Smurf account. But now we're starting to take those hits. We're going to look to go to level 9. Now, this is a game where you can go level 9, but a lot of games you're going to have to stay on level 8. So we need 68 right now. With our health currently, we assume we take like 15 damage, right? Because that'll make this easy. 15, bring us down to 70 here. Bring us down to 55 here, 45 here, 30 here, right? So if we take all those losses, we'll be 30 health, roughly. It'll be give or take, but you can kind of do that. So we can say right now, if we want to lose this one and drop down to 70, lose this one and drop down to 55, we can gain 10 gold, basically. We'll gain 10 gold. So with what we have right now, we'll start spending this gold just to make this calculation a whole lot easier. So we have 28 plus our 10 gold that we just said we would be able to have. So that would be 18 gold. So it'd be 18 and then minus our 50, because that's the gold we'll have here. And actually it's less. It's even less than that because there's other gold. Now our options are basically to lose this one, and then, you know, and we're still high on health. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to basically, we're not going to spend any gold, and that's going to allow us to lose. And as long as we aren't losing too bad, which we really aren't, we're going to be in an okay spot. So basically, by losing this, we're going to be able to hit level 9 with 50 gold, giving us access to level 5 cost chosens. So again, hopefully we get to kill a couple units here. We don't, so we're going to take a really big hit. So, you know, this is roughly the equivalent. You know, we said 55, we got 61. Thumbs up, we're in a good spot. In terms of champions here, we're going to look for items that can be good with what we have paired up right now. Realistically, it's probably going to be the Titans, because we are currently looking for Samira items. Because now we can go into Samira. We have GA, we have Hand of Justice, and now we have Titans, which is pretty good Samira items. Now we are going to try and find Slayers, because we are no longer really caring about Duelists. Right now, we are going to go to level 9, and we need to just be strong, basically. Alright, so we are going to look for useful things. 4 costs are good. Don't want to get too, you know, too caught up here, though. So we'll just keep trying to do stuff. Alright, well, we hit a Sharpshooter Samira. So we no longer need any Sharpshooters, which we never picked any up anyway. And we can provide Samira with the items that she would like. And in the middle of this, we're going to just quickly give something random our Zephyr. We can give something else Duelist. Alright. Anyway, we need to get Slayers. So there's a Slayer here. We can get rid of everything else we are not using. I am completely fine with getting rid of all of that. So now we're just going to pick up, we're going to keep picking up the gold units. We're going to try and provide our other things here with things that work for us. We're going to get rid of this. Can put in this one. We have our Slayers, so we can get rid of this. And it doesn't look like we're going to be able to find a way to fit this in, so we can get rid of it. Alright, so this is pretty much how we're going to be playing this out now. We're going to maintain our gold, and we're just going to try and, you know, win from here. Should be relatively easy given our setup. But this is what you're working toward. The route that I said, you know, that we would be taking is something like this. Like I said, we started bow, so that means that Kale was the biggest possibility for us. And because we hit the Kale, it completely opens up the entire game for us. I don't really know how else better to describe it. And we are just going to be able to keep upgrading our board little bits, you know, here and there. You know, like this gives us 3 Adept, right? We're just going to keep upgrading it bit by bit. That's all we really need. We already have our Slayers, you know. We don't need to spend a lot of gold. It would be possible to go down to 30 gold, which we may do here in a turn or two if we don't find anything of substantial worth. But for now, we're fine to keep just picking up little bits and pieces here. Alright, well, we have an orange, so now I want to figure out how to fit this in. So we're going to get rid of 2 duelists. We're going to get rid of this, and we're going to get rid of this. And then, you know, we're going to pop in orange, and we could possibly pop this in, but I'd rather, you know, roll down and see what we can get. Okay, so we did hit this. We hit this as 2, so yeah, we can do that. I'm actually willing to go down a little bit more. You know, I mean, we hit that. Okay. So we can look for our items here now. Give this to you, and we can probably just put that on you. In terms of this item, I don't want to give it to Olaf, because now that we have an Ornn, it's going to open us for having the new items, the artifact items, you know. But we're just going to maintain this at 30 now. We hit both of these. Cool. We're probably going to just look to get rid of this, most likely, because why not? Because this is better. I'm actually willing to get rid of this to put this back in. And I mean, this is it. Like, this is pretty much how our end game is going to be shaping up now. We're just going to be waiting, and we'll close the game out this way. This is one of the better case scenarios. So this is one of the guys who's beaten us a couple times, and now we're just trying to look to see if we are able to beat him now, or if we'll still be losing. And it looks like we're going to be able to beat him now. Alright. So now, this is the round right before the last carousel. So we need to do everything in our power to try and knock everyone else out of the game, because we don't want to allow them to have access to that carousel. So we're just going to pick up as many things that even look remotely usable. Okay, we've hit this. So we're actually going to put in this, which is just going to give us Siphoner. And I'll still roll. Alright, the set pair looks really good. We get a set 2 as well. We'll put this in over you. And then we'll give you this. And we'll give you this. Okay. Now, our positioning on set is absolutely fucking awful. So, that's that. But having set in over the level 1 Yone is just another way to increase our chances of winning. Alright. And then we are going to successfully double knockout this. So, this is the shorter game. The next game will be a whole lot more in depth and a whole lot harder, building off of this. So, there we go. I hope to see you guys real quick in that next one. Here we don't. So, again, we're going to go for Bow here personally, because 1, there's 2 of them. 2, Kayle, Olaf, and Tryndamere are all 4 costs that really enjoy having attack speed. So, again, if you wanted AD, you would have possibly a stronger early game, but your, mid to late game might be a little bit worse. And I think Rod currently is probably the best middle area of that. But right now, Bow is really, really good for the mid and late game, and it's really decent for the early game. So that's just generally why we're going to move this way. So again, if you enjoy Kayle, if you enjoy Tryndamere, and if you enjoy Olaf, Bow is, what you want to go for. If you enjoy things like Talon, things like Aurelion Soul, you're going to go for either Sword or Rod, respectively, or maybe Crit Glove, or, you'll have to get familiar with the items on a personal level. Here, though, this isn't looking very good, because we don't have any full offensive. We have, like, an attack speed item, and we have a defensive. So, we're going to look to see what we can do here. And right here, I mean, we have possibility for, like, Divine and Cultist. So this is what we're looking at. We have possibility for Vanguard and Divine, Cultist and Keeper. So because we don't have any AD items right now, it's kind of iffy trying to pick out of this shop. This is a pretty bad shop. But we're going to grab the Fiora anyway, because it's a possibility for Duelist, and it has a lot of synergies here. So again, we have either Zephyr start or Runons, and it's probably going to be Zephyr. Alright. So, we've hit a Maokai with Brawler. Usually going to take your first Chosens. So, we'll grab them. And we can again consider if we want to go for our Zephyr or we want to go for Runons. If we hit a Shyvana, if we get like 4 gold here, and if we pre-level, and if we hit Shyvana, we'll go for Runons. If those conditions are not met, we'll go for Zephyr. We just sell, pop up. Okay, so we don't hit Shyvana. So we are going to 100% go for Zephyr then. And we can put it on him because he's a tank, and we can just do that. I'm just looking through here, and there's no other traits that we can actually activate. We can activate any of these because we sold off the other things. But the only improvement we actually have here is to add in a second Maokai. Now, this may look weird, but we do have Brawler Chosen, so this Brawler Chosen is giving bonuses to both of these two. I'm going to personally just pick up Pyke because I like Pyke. Pyke and Janna. Again, I'm playing another Janna. Personal preferences toward champions. You'll find the champions that you really enjoy to play early. But yeah, so we're going for possibly Brawler route right now. Brawler route into something else, most likely. It could be going into 6 Brawlers. So, those are the things that I'm trying to consider at this moment. It is possible for me to go Divine here. But at this point, I'm also trying to consider what my other options are. So, maybe instead of this, maybe this would be better. Or maybe this is better than this, Maybe this is a little bit stronger. Now, ninjas are really good splash traits, especially Akali and Zed, because they will have instant access to your enemy's backline, and they also just gain bonus stats. They gain bonus attack damage and spell power. So they're going to immediately become valuable right from the jump. So yeah. But again, we're considering our routes to go down. We're considering if we want to go for Tryndamere route or whatever. Now, you'll notice that when I say these routes, I'm not talking about team comps, right? Even though the end result of these teams can be compositions. Like my mid-game last game was possibly, somewhere along the lines of a Kayle composition. You will see me play compositions in the mid-game, but you will be hard-pressed to find me play a lot of compositions and stay there, because you're typically going to need to add in stronger units anyway, and that's why I enjoy playing flexibly. It is possible that I play 8 Brawlers this game, right? And then that'll be my entire team. But most likely, this Brawler Chosen is going to get sold. And that's just because, in this case right here especially, where I still have 2 Brawler. Right here is usually one where you want to have 4 Brawler to make sure you're still strong. If I don't have 4 Brawlers by, honestly, next round, or maybe the round after that, it's pretty likely that I'm going to lose. At least one round. And losing one round can disrupt your win streak and can be really, really bad. So we're going to see. So first off, we're going to look for items as always. And we do have our bow still, so it could be RFC. There's no Brawlers on here. So we can't even grab a Brawler here if we wanted. So that's going to go. Okay, so now we need to consider our second possible items. So swords are good. Anything offensive is good here. We had a double defensive item start. So we're going to just grab something offensive because we don't want any more defensive items. If this was a rod, we'd grab it, all that. Unfortunately, we don't get to slam anything out of this, but this at least sets us up for success in a couple turns. All right, and we hit a Lucky Lantern. So our Lucky Lantern gives us that, and okay, so we're going to just level here, I think. We can consider putting in this, which is what I think I'll do. Yeah, and then we'll just buy up the shop. Now, for our items here, we'll just, put them on things. We'll give this to... I was going to say we'll give this to Wukong, but we can't actually give that to either of them. Alright, now we can. We'll just keep slamming our items where we can. Again, unfortunately, we don't have the Brawlers, so we're going to lose this pretty fucking hard, too. We are going to lose this by all 5 units, actually, or all 4 units, which is going to take us from the top of the leaderboard to roughly the middle, if not middle bottom. So, yeah, this is where we can consider already selling our Chosen, because we haven't been able to capitalize where we needed off of it, and it's going to start bleeding us dry. Alright, well, we hit Shyvana here. But we've also hit 4 Divine. So I'm willing to sell a decent bit. And I'm actually willing to get rid of this now. And consider playing 4 Divine right now. Because it's what we have. Right? Remember, we're not playing for what we can have. We're playing for what we have. And actually, under that, we're going to sell this right now. And I'm actually going to put this in. So the reason why I'm doing this, and the reason why I got rid of Janna instead of playing it, is because I'd rather do this, because Shyvana's still a good unit, and this makes us still have a possible route with this brawler. Now, it is possible to keep the Janna and then go strictly into like Divine Enlightened. Unfortunately, I just don't think that's going to sustain us like we need it to. And I don't think that there's going to be any Chosens that we could possibly get that are going to be able to maintain us either. But by selling our Chosen, we're pretty much guaranteeing that we lose this one anyway. Alright, but we will get rid of this now, because now we can grab this, and now we actually have more room to breathe. So, because we didn't hit another brawler here, now, I mean, we're just kind of picking up the pieces of that. So this is what it's like when you don't get a particularly good Chosen, right? And we're not going to grab this because there's not like a cultist route I can think of that would be able to work with what we have right now. Now, we could go with this Elderwood stuff, but we don't have Elderwoods right now. And this is honestly almost too expensive to grab. Alright. We can sell Maokai for gold. We want to just keep our gold up. Gold is going to allow us to have the most resources to use. Okay. Alright, so we are hitting a lot of things that are pretty decent for us here. We cannot sell for gold here. We can. We can sell these. Because I don't mind not keeping any of those. So, out of our items here, we have to consider what is possible to slam. Because this is where you usually want to slam an item. So we're going to slam Giant Slayer. And we'll just do this. Because he's still a pretty useless unit right now. So it's probably fine. Yeah, I guess we can probably just give this to this. Checking people's Chosens. Cool. Alright. So, this is just how we're going to keep trying to maintain our health for now. Now, what we're looking at in terms of Chosens and all that is kind of, you know, anything. The world is our oyster. But given our current items, we are possibly looking at, like, an Enlightened mid-game. You know, Enlightened, probably Talon, something of the sort. But we're going to see if we hit Chosens right here, because we need a Chosen. We didn't. We're going to level, and we're going to pick up everything in the shop, and now we're going to just start rolling. Alright. We have hit Enlightened Chosen. And that means that we can look to go Talon in a mid-game. At least. So we're going to sell off the stuff that we just grabbed. Not going to sell that one. And I'll actually pick up the Lulu pair, and if I win, I'll grab the Zed. Just because I don't want to get rid of too much, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, I guess if I win this, I'll sell all this. There's nothing here I actually want to keep. The Lulu pair is nice, but realistically, it's not getting kept anyway, so. Enlightened Irelia is probably as good as we're going to get right now. You know, especially considering, like, you know, we can't get the other Enlightens. Alright, we hit Kale, and there's a Shen. So, again, we're going to try and consider what we can run here. I'm going to try and run Kale over, what's his fuck? And because we already are going to be breaking eco here, we'll just hold this. We will grab these, throw them on Kale, and we'll probably put the Zephyr on Janna, I guess. If for the only reason that, like, because we already have a tier on this Janna, if we get any better items, we're going to be moving them off of Janna, involving tier, then, you know, that's just what we're going to be looking at. So, the reason I slam Giant Slayer is because things like Talon use Giant Slayer. Kale kind of uses Giant Slayer, I guess. and Zaya and, Shyvana even are able to use Giant Slayer. So, this is all you want to do. You want to slam items that have the most possible uses for the most possible things, right? That's entirely the goal. Here, I can go for a lot of stuff. The Kale with the bow looks really good, but that's usually gonna go. Yeah. We can go for the Katarina, we can go for the Vi, we can go for the Rakan. Those are pretty much the things that are going to be able to be put on Talon, because right now we're looking for Talon items. And we get the Katarina, or the Rakan. Katarina is completely good. So, the Katarina is just a 3 cost, and that's the other thing too. If you're ever trying to look for items, you usually don't want to take 1 cost. Almost ever. Alright, so we'll get rid of this, and then pop that on you. Get rid of this, and then just pick these up. So, in essence, what we're looking for is basically just like the Talon Morgana Enlightened comp, right? So we have this for when we find Talon, and this for our next level. But until then, we're just going to keep trying to maintain our strength. Now, having 4 Divine, 4 Enlightened with a Kale as our primary damage, absolutely beautiful. Probably going to be good to maintain us. So we're just hoping that has done good enough for us. There will be games where you just don't hit as well. And then there's games that you hit really well, and, right here you might already be level 7 with 50 gold. The biggest thing is just trying to maximize the amount of times that the game cannot screw you over. Now, we had to roll a decent bit, but we kept enough stuff with our items to allow us the most chances to not get screwed. Alright. Now, we are going to most likely, because we just hit a Jax upgrade, so our Jax is stronger now. So, that gives me a little bit more confidence that, we're going to be in a decent spot. Looking at this guy, he's win streaking, right? So we haven't fought against him this round. We may fight against him. We didn't. Okay. So, I was just trying to consider if we could beat him anyway. But with the Giant Slayer, we're going to actually beat a lot of these people, because a lot of these people are running Brawlers. And Giant Slayer absolutely just melts Brawlers like butter. So, let's see. Alright. So, in essence, we need at least 1 more sword. If we want to go Talon, because we would like Infinity Edge. We would also need Morello, so we need Rod and Belt. So, alright, I see Sejuani, and I'm not entirely sure I could fit Sejuani into my team. So, we may pass on running her, but we're going to pick her up anyway. Not really seeing anything else here. It's just like we have to consider that with our setup right now, is it possible to sell Irelia, and is Irelia losing us rounds? She's not. She's not losing us rounds, and I don't think that there's another Chosen I could get realistically, because there's plenty of Chosens I could get. In theory, that would be better, but, not in practice. So we're going to level here. Now we have blue buff. So, we'll put this in just for the Adept, the Mystic, and, the Ninja. And then we can look to go to level 8 next turn. Because at level 8, we have access to getting the other Chosens more easily, I guess. Alright, so this is seeming pretty decent so far. We'll have to consider if we are going to still try and go Kale comp, or if we're going to try and switch into Talon. A little bit iffy. I'm not sure I could actually play Kale out of this. I might be able to. But right now, our items are really, really weird. Alright, so we're going to look to level here all the way. And we're going to just drop in Vladimir. I'm going to still try and not roll. Basically, last turn I leveled... Okay, the turn before, I got a Jax upgrade. Then I leveled and put in Shen, giving me Adept, Mystic, and Ninja. Then I leveled again this turn, giving me Fiora 2 and Vladimir giving me Siphoner. These are just the tiny upgrades I'm trying to do every turn so that I can maximize the amount of value that my team has. You know, the scaling power. And then now, I mean, now we can see either we are going to keep winning or we'll start to lose. If we start to lose, the power we currently have is not enough. But if we continue to win, we can push our advantage even further because now we're level 8. Because our roll chance went up from like I think 15, maybe 12 or whatever percentage to 20 for our 4 costs. So again, you know, we have to consider this guy is the strongest guy right now. Can we beat him? You know. And like, is it good to be able to beat him? Because right now he's level 6 with 40 gold. We are level 8 with 20. So if we win, then I'm not convinced anyone else could actually be beating us. But we'll be putting this to the test. So now we'll check. This is pretty much the, you know, the actual test of if we have been able to do good. You know, as good as this guy, basically. And it looks like we'll probably be able to do it. It's a little bit iffy with these last few because, you know, they're the main people doing damage. But it looks like we're going to be able to close it out. And then with that, he is going to lose his streak and we don't lose ours. So we're going to continue to gain our extra 5 gold or whatever off the streak. And, well, he's not. And because we're already ahead in levels, everyone's level 6 or 7. We're level 8. We can go through and see the economy, and most people have a decent economy, but we'll catch up within 2 turns. We can go back and check our board, and we have no floating items. So, ideally, we'd just be looking for something for Kale. And right now, I mean, we're not really able to have anything, so we'll just grab another tier. Especially that was something that he apparently needed. Not really, but I don't want to take any more defensive items. We've already hit Lucky Lantern, so we can't really do anything with that. So, we'll just have to wait. We can sell this. I guess we can just grab this. There's nothing really that's popping out to me except for maybe this. And Janna already has full mana, so I'm thinking we can just give this to probably Vladimir. And the reason that I'm doing that is that it's the only thing I can really sell. Assuming that I want to stay floating in between both Divine and Enlightened comps. So, that'll be fine. Now, this person did roll down a lot of gold. And they have a level 3 Jarvan. So, if we're going to lose a round, it'll be this one. But it's also possible we win this one. Okay. That guy did the most damage to us, but we still win. And we'll grab this. So next turn we'll look to, you know, probably just maintain like we've been doing. We hit a lot of stuff here. We'll pick up the Olaf pair definitely. And so we'll have to sell stuff to make our gold back. So we'll do that. And I'm actually willing... Nah, actually this is a Slayer. I could hold on to it. I was going to say, if we win, I'm willing to sell it to get rid of, to buy Cho'Gath. But with this, honestly, it's probably fine. So, if we happen to get a crit glove or whatever, something of that sort, it's definitely possible we just go into another Samira endgame. We hit the Slayers again, and we started with bow. So, if you don't go Olaf Slayers with a bow, you'll end up going Samira Slayers if you happen to get to level 9. It's realistically, like, just the general, like, the natural route. But, you know. This person seems relatively strong. Yeah, they got us. Okay, so that's our first loss. It's completely fine. We could have been rolling and all that, but it's all good. Okay, so we've hit Samira, of whom we will be putting in immediately, and now we will switch into a Samira comp, pretty much. You guys kind of know how this goes. We did it last time, and we'll do it again this time. But instead, we won't be selling our Chosen. Not yet. For Samira, we'll just give her these 2 items. These items will just be held in case we get something a little bit better. And if we hit Guardian Angel, or not Guardian Angel, Hand of Justice, that'll be what we put on Samira for her final item. If not, we'll just have to consider our options. Alright, so this is definitely having to be a Zephyr on somebody. So there's not really much here that I'm seeing that would be good, so we're just going to put money into leveling. I'm willing to give Zephyr to, I guess, Jax, and then maybe making a Zephyr on, like, Pike, because he's a possibility to get sold. And then, I mean, for these final things, realistically, it's probably just going to be, like, Redemption. So, Redemption, blue buff on Irelia with a sword. We won't give Samira a 3rd item, because now that is 5-1, we are back to accessing full items on the carousel. So, I mean, at this point, our whatever you call it, Chosen, is pretty irrelevant to what we're playing. So that is a little bit, you know, dicey, I guess. But considering we have a Samira, I mean, is it really, though? Alright, well, we're going to lose this one because she's not going to... Okay, actually, she is going to ult, but it's not going to matter. Okay. So, again, this is... If we're going to be losing, this is where we want to sacrifice our health, right? If this is where we're able to sacrifice our health, then... Like, we're losing health right now, but we are dictating, like, as to why we are losing our health. So, by sacrificing our health now, again, going down to, like, 50 health or whatever... We are allowing ourselves to get to level 9 pretty much for free. So, you know, use your health like a gauge, like a gas gauge pretty much. Because that's all it is. Your health is a gas gauge that will allow you to spend it and gain value for free. As long as you are allowing yourself to dictate that. As long as you are not, you know, just being like, okay, well... Alright, well, that was unfortunate. As long as you're not just taking hits for no reason, you are the one in control of you know, your destiny, I suppose. So, again, we're going to let ourselves tank one more, right? And then after that, we're going to sell our Chosen... Go to level 9, and then start putting in stuff. We've been collecting a bunch of champions, and I'll actually thin out the champions I know I'm not going to be able to use. So, yeah, we'll thin these out, just so I have more room to work with. But this is pretty much what it is. If we win or lose, we'll be in a really good spot, and we'll be able to have roughly 30 or 40 gold to spend. And then hopefully that's enough to close out the game at a first. But it is possible that it goes to a second. I haven't been scouting the top dude enough to really determine whether or not he is just completely, like, unkillable. But, you know, this is my strategy for getting first and second in a lot of my games. It really allows you to have the most room to move around. And, like I said, this is just how I play. So the way that you play might be completely different. Alright, so Hand of Justice on Kale seems really good. I mean, Jeweled Gauntlet is always good for set. I'm just going to take something expensive, and I don't want any spatula items, so... So unfortunately, we don't have an item for whatever you call her, Samira. But in due time. Alright. So now we're going to level. Alright, we hit a Dragon Soul. That's probably fine, actually, to take. Right? No, alright, let's just take it. Okay, right? We'll just take it, because we have the Olaf. So yeah, we'll just do that. Yeah, I don't hate that. It's not feeling the best, but I don't hate it. And we'll just get rid of all the extra stuff that's, like, for the most part, not going to be used. Alright, so hoping that this Swain can completely wipe it, but he's not going to be able to. And this is why I was pretty apprehensive about taking the Swain, because Dragon Soul Swain isn't really going to win us the game. So, we'll get rid of him. Even now, like, we'll get rid of him even now, because I'm not confident he would even be able to win us another round. I'll roll one. Alright, we'll grab this. I'm actually willing to get rid of this. Pop this in. And this is probably better over you. Yep. Get rid of you. Cool. Here we go. So, this is roughly as good as we'll get for now. Yone is probably going to end up getting sold anyway, so I don't really mind that. Alright. Unfortunately, losing more fights. Okay. So we have no chosen. And that is a divine spat. So we'll actually grab this. And we'll just pop this in. Get rid of you. Pop that in. And we'll roll one. Alright, beautiful. Slayer chosen. May not be a Samira, but it's good enough. And we'll just grab this stuff. I think we make enough gold anyway. But now that we have Sword of the Divine, we can give Samira Divine Spatula. You know, as her third item. And then we'll just look to level. And I'm actually going to sell the Olaf now. Because now that I've hit another Samira, it is possible for me to consider just going Samira. I'm not going to go Exy Kane. So we just went through a lot of upgrades. So I know that was a lot. Okay, yeah, you need to get that. And I didn't put Olaf back in, unfortunately. But I think considering all the other upgrades we hit, we're probably going to be fine. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We just need one more thing here. And, okay. That wasn't bad. Yeah, that definitely wasn't bad considering they kept that alive. So, okay. We'll grab these, because why not? Grab those. So we'll get rid of that. We could probably get rid of this. Alright. So we've hit another Swain. Which, I mean, why not, right? Gives us Siphoner. Trying our hardest here, but this guy is pretty fucking strong. So we'll probably lose this. Yeah, okay. Okay. And ironically, this is actually a fourth. No, this is a third. Okay. But considering we are up against these two things, this guy absolutely dog walking us, and then this guy having a level 3 Lulu, which I didn't see before, and an Annie. These are not really bad things to feel bad about. But also realize that they both went level 8. So for this game, it probably would have been better for me to actually stay level 8. Because I didn't realize nobody else was going 9. And so if I had put more gold into it, I probably could have denied getting these people as strong as they were. And I don't want to say I would have done different if I was playing alone, because I probably would have done the same if I wasn't like trying to explain. But yeah. So hopefully that can kind of give you a little bit in terms of these routes. If you guys want, I can make another video maybe with some extra information. It's kind of hard to describe every single route, but I'm willing to look into it if you want. I'm most definitely willing to try and do my best to sort that out for you. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed, I hope you guys got something out of this, and I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.